Howdy, folks. My name is Gavin Sheridan, and today we're going to be talking about a subject in interpersonal communication that I think is really important for forming relationships, and that is the define the relationship talk. Now, the define the relationship talk is a conversation had between two individuals on the subject of their relationship with each other and particularly defining what that is, what they mean to each other. So for as an example, say that my female coworker and I are being rather flirty with each other. We believe we have interest with each other, but then we decide that we finally need to sit down and I say, hey, I know we've been flirty and that we may have a romantic interest in each other, but I believe this would be a conflict of interest in our professional setting, and I believe that we should maintain the boundaries of our current relationship, which is that of coworkers. And she may respond however she wants. So for the example, she would say, I agree with you. I think this could be raise problems later if we decide to pursue a relationship. So I agree with you that we should maintain the boundaries of our current relationship. This would be an example of a define the relationship talk in a setting where it helps clarify the relationship and prevents anything unethical from occurring. Now, another thing that's very interesting and unique to define the relationship talks is it usually isn't just one conversation. It's usually a series of conversations because, as we know with humans, our relationships with each other change and evolve over time. So, say I have a define the relationship talk with a female classmate of mine that in this talk we define that we are friends and that we consider each other good friends. And then, of course, we have more of the define the relationship talks to discuss boundaries, shared goals, interests, so on and so forth. And eventually, this could become, say, for example, a business relationship. And we define the relationship instead as more of a friendly relationship to instead more of a professional one. Just for an example. Now, to apply this to my own life, for example, I will be using my relationship with my girlfriend, in which about a good way through talking and going out on dates, we sit down and we talk, and I tell her, hey, I have feelings for you. I have a great romantic interest with you. I think you are a great person, and I would like to pursue a committed, serious, romantic relationship with you as your boyfriend in a monogamous relationship. And to which she replied, I agree. I feel this exact same way about you, and I too would also like to pursue a romantic relationship with you as my boyfriend. Now, this is a perfect application of what a define the relationship talk was. This is exactly that's exactly how it's defined. Now, as for any ethical concerns that came from my personal application to my life, an ethical concern would be my lack of understanding of the define the relationship talk, which is just that, which is basically just a conversation stating, I am your boyfriend and you are my girlfriend, when in reality, the define the relationship talk can take many different forms, discussing many different subjects within the boundaries of the relationship, but it also can take over a length of time. It could be a series of conversations. Now, this was something I did not realize in the beginning of the relationship that I likely should have, which we should have continued to discuss, because it did lead to us crossing boundaries with each other that we were not comfortable with, and we should have continued to be more open and communicate about it in order to define that. So that way, we would instead learn about boundaries and the subjects of the relationship and definitions of it via open communication instead of rather crossing those boundaries and creating a source of conflict between us that does cause strain on the relationship and emotional stress, which of course we rectified by now having We talk very openly and have multiple conversations as to our relationship and what it looks like to ensure we do not step on each other's toes with anything concerning our love languages, forms of communication, so on and so forth. So, in conclusion, a define the relationship talk is a conversation where two individuals sit down and discuss and define the boundaries of their relationship, and that would include what they are to each other, as well what are the lines and boundaries that they should not cross for each other.